All right, so good morning, everyone. We've got William H. Murray for the InfraGard Editorial, and today we're going to be talking about continue to make new mistakes. So go ahead, Bill. Take it away.
Well, all this began when I got the following communication from our colleague, Fred Scholl. Fred says, "Hi, Bill. Hope you're enjoying 2012. Watching a number of your InfraGard podcasts. They're very useful. But one can get the idea we keep making the same mistakes. Courtney's third law says that we should not rely on technical solutions for management problems. But it seems like many are still doing that. I asked Vivek Kundra about security in government agencies at a meeting in November. He said they were relying on red team testing and IDS/IPS. In my mind, that was not a very good answer. Why haven't security people focused more on management solutions? I was looking at programs like the SSE CMM, but it seems to have died a number of years ago. I may use one of your YouTube videos for an MBA course I'm teaching on security later this month." I responded, "Happy New Year, Fred. It's funny you should ask. Actually, Courtney spoke to the issue. I wish that I could remember his exact words because they were quite colorful. However, they included technologically titillating. He would have predicted that we would keep making the same mistakes." Courtney believed that the kind of technological minutia that we find ourselves engaged in was a distraction from real work. Of course, at the time, technology was sparse, but we still needed to put the wheels on the bus. We did not have the fundamental controls: identification, authentication, access control, administration, logs and alarms, process-to-process isolation, and encryption. We didn't have those built in yet. Today, we have the necessary controls, but do not apply them efficiently or effectively, much less efficiently. Instead, we spend a lot of time focusing on their limitations. For example, this week we are focused on social media, peer-to-peer file sharing, and bring your own device to work. This is simply the current manifestation of the futility of trying to respond to the increasing changes in the technology. Courtney would say, focus on the data. I would say, rely upon the controls closest to the data. For example, access controls on file servers and database managers. That would be a strategic rather than a tactical solution. It exploits the most reliable layers of the technology to address the least reliable layers, that is, the technology that's under the control of the users. It does not attempt to fix that part of the technology that is most rapidly changing and least under our control. Regards, Bill. Of course, we have many more tools today than we had when Courtney was writing and speaking. On the other hand, many of them he would likely have laughed at because they attempt to compensate late for what we failed to do early. Can you say data loss prevention? I almost said that he would prefer prevention to remediation, but I think that's really probably just me. I do remember that Courtney actually preferred accountability to prevention. He believed that most of us were more influenced by the avoidance of shame than the potential for punishment. Our focus on the technology even confuses us about where our rights and data originate. For example, writing in InfoWorld, Galen Grumman contends that the use of an employee's own device to undertake enterprise activity will necessarily create confusion as to the rights of the enterprise in that data. It would be as though the rights of the enterprise in data arises from the fact that it was produced on an enterprise device rather than on the fact that the enterprise paid for it. On the other hand, our colleague Tom Peltier stresses that the rights of the enterprise and the employee are a function of policy and contract. He stresses that when drafting the policy and the contract, we should focus on the data and be as technology neutral as possible. It might be helpful to restate Courtney's laws. Nothing useful can be said about the security of a mechanism except in the context of specific applications and environments. Number two, never spend more money mitigating a risk than tolerating it will cost you. And finally, the one that Fred refers to, there are management solutions for technical problems, but there are no technical solutions for management problems. Said another way, Courtney anticipated the very mistakes that we continue to make. We focus on the technology, not the data. We focus on the technology, not the people. We spend too much money on the wrong things. These mistakes are very easy to make, but they are not impossible to avoid. Media is not your friend. Media focus on the topical rather than the fundamental. Esther Dyson likes to say, always make new mistakes. Making only new mistakes separates us from the amateurs, qualifies us as professionals, and earns us the big bucks.
Nice segue there, Bill. Very nice segue. Certainly have an appreciation for what you're saying there. All right. Thank you very much, and we will see you next week.
Very good.
All right. Take care. All right, folks. Something to learn by there as